A very good morning, children. Once again, I welcome you back to my class. Over the last 2 weeks, we have been doing the chapter, The Best Christmas Present in the World. We finished the first unit wherein the narrator finds a roll-top desk from a junk shop. He takes it for some repair work to his garage, and then he finds a letter inside a tin box which was inside one of the drawers. In the second unit, we have seen that he just goes through the letter. He starts reading the letter, whatever is written by the person named Jim McPherson, and the letter is said to be written to his wife Connie. So the narrator finds out that this event which is described in the letter has taken place during the First World War, and this war was taking place between the British and the Germans. So he finds out that on the eve of Christmas, on the day of Christmas in the morning, the German soldiers take the initiative of coming towards the British to wish them Christmas, and how they mingle with each other to celebrate Christmas, forgetting the war that was taking place at that moment. So now Jim meets a person from the German soldiers battalion named Hans Wolf, and they both just they share their views about how the war period is. So let us continue with Unit 2. I'll read the text and then we'll go on with a mini explanation for this lesson. We'll see if we can finish it with this session today, or else we'll finish this class in the next week. Thank you for listening, children. Let's move on to the text. Let's begin from where we stopped last week, the last paragraph that you see in this page. You cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Fritz officer, who approached me hand outstretched. Hans Wolf, he said, gripping my hand warmly and holding it. I am from Dusseldorf. I play the cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas. So what happens here is an officer from the German side comes near Jim and takes out his hand to greet him and shake his hands. He just tries to shake his hand and say and introduces himself as Hans Wolf. He says that I am a cello player in the orchestra and he belongs to a place called Dusseldorf. And then he wishes him a happy Christmas. Captain Jim McPherson, I replied, and a happy Christmas to you too. I am a school teacher from Dorset in the west of England. I hope this paragraph is clear. Here, Jim McPherson introduces himself in response to the introduction from Hans Wolf. So their conversation continues. Ah, Dorset, he smiled. I know this place. I know it very well. We shared my run ration and his excellent sausage. And we talked, Connie, how we talked. He spoke almost perfect English. But it turned out that he had never set foot in Dorset, never even been to England. He had learned all he knew of England from school and from reading books in English. His favorite writer was Thomas Hardy. His favorite book, Far from the Madding Crowd. So out there in no man's land, we talked of Bathsheba and Gabriel Oak and Sergeant Troy and Dorset. So here Jim has told Connie that when he introduces himself as Jim McPherson and belonging to a place called Dorset, Hans Wolf in response says that he knows that place called Dorset very well. And Jim was very surprised to know that Hans Wolf had never been to England. All he knew about this place was only through the learnings from his school and from the books he had read. And he also told that his favorite author was Thomas Hardy and mentioned his favorite book to be Far from the Madding Crowd. And then they spoke about a lot of things, places and different things like Gabriel Oak, Sergeant Troy and Dorset, which are quite popular in that area. Let's move on with the reading. He had a wife and one son, born just 6 months ago. I looked about me. There were huddles of khaki and grey everywhere, all over no man's land, smoking, laughing, talking, drinking, and eating. Hans Wolf and I shared what was left of your wonderful Christmas cake, Connie. He thought the marzipan was the best he had ever tasted. I agreed. We agreed about everything, and he was my enemy. There never was a Christmas party like it, Connie. So, in his letter, he continues to write about how they felt about each other. He says we were enemies, and everyone who was being merry, that is, being happy, were smoking, laughing, drinking, talking, and eating, doing everything together. And he says, Hans Wolf and I ate the remaining of the wonderful Christmas cake you had baked and sent to me. So he says the person from the German side, Hans Wolf, also said that the marzipan, the sweet topping on the cake, was the best that he had ever tasted in his life. And Hans Wolf and Jim McPherson agreed to almost everything that they spoke about. They didn't feel like any enmity between them, and they were happy about this Christmas party. Then someone, I don't know who, brought out a football. Great coats were dumped in piles to make goalposts, and the next thing we knew, it was Tommy against Fritz out in the middle of no man's land. So I had mentioned to you earlier that no man's land means the place which is not owned by either of the countries. It is the empty space between two borders. And then he said, when we were talking about these things, someone brought a football, and both the sides in the war field, that is the Germans and the British, they started playing a football match. And what did they do to create the goalpost? The Fritz, that is the German soldiers, and Tommy, the British soldiers, they piled up their coats to make goalposts. Hans Wolf and I looked on and cheered, clapping our hands and stamping our feet, to keep out the cold as much as anything. There was a moment when I noticed our breaths mingling in the air between us. He saw it too and smiled. Jim McPherson, he said after a while, I think this is how we should resolve this war. A football match. No one dies in a football match. No children are orphaned. No wives become widows. So when they were watching the people playing football match, these two were trying to cheer them. Though these two did not get themselves involved in the game, involved in playing, they were cheering them by clapping their hands and stamping their feet, because it was too cold, and doing this act kept them a little warm. And then Hans Wolf came to Jim McPherson and said, now onwards, I think the governments should decide on resolving the wars through a football match. In a football match, nobody will die. When no one dies, the family will not be upset. The dead person's children will not become orphans. His wife will not become a widow. I guess we all accept and agree to this, isn't it, children? When there is no war, there will be no deaths and no sad families. Let's read further. I would prefer cricket, I told him. Then we Tommies could be sure of winning probably. We laughed at that, and together we watched the game. So what happened when Hans Wolf suggested that football match will be the best thing to do to bring in a resolution among two governments? What did Jim McPherson say? He said that I feel playing a cricket match would be better, because in that case, I'm sure that the British soldiers are going to win. So they just laugh out at this and they continue to watch the game. Here we can see the picture where the game is shown. The people in khaki and grey coats. So khaki represents the team of British soldiers and the grey coats represent the German soldiers team. Sad to say that, Connie, Fritz won 2-1. But as Hans Wolf generously said, our goal was wider than theirs, so it wasn't quite fair. Because the two people were trying to be friendly, what Jim has written in his letter is that Hans Wolf said that our goalpost was wide. That means because the goal was a wider place, it was easier to score goals. So he says it was an unfair game. Anyway, we were only having fun, so it's all right. The time came, and all too soon. When the game was finished, the schnapps, the rum and the sausage had long since run out, and we knew it was all over. I wished Hans well and told him I hoped he would see his family again soon, that the fighting would end and we could all go home. So once the game was over and the time was running out, their drinks, rum, sausage, everything was finished. and these people knew that it was time for finishing their wonderful time that they were spending together. And he, while bidding goodbye to Hans Wolf, Jim McPherson told him that as a wish, he feels that he should reunite with his family soon again, and the war should come to an end at the earliest possible. I think that is what every soldier wants on both sides, Hans Wolf said. Take care, Jim McPherson. I shall never forget this moment, nor you. He saluted and walked away from me slowly, unwillingly, I felt. He turned to wave just once and then become one of the hundreds of grey-coated men drifting back towards their trenches. So after their small conversation, Hans Wolf was ready to go back, and he also tells Jim McPherson that I also think that every soldier wants such a solution, that no one dies in the war. He salutes Jim, and without having any intention, without any other choice, he goes back with the other soldiers in their grey coats. They all go back towards their trenches. That night, back in our dugouts, we heard them singing a carol, and singing it quite beautifully. It was a still night, silent night. Our boys gave them a rousing chorus of While Shepherds Watched. We exchanged carols for a while, and then we all fell silent. We had had our time of peace and goodwill, a time I will treasure as long as I live. So he says once Hans Wolf was gone, and in the night time they were all back in their dugouts. Dugouts are the tent kind of things which are arranged temporarily in the war fields for the soldiers to spend their night. So he said we were singing carols, and they heard the singing coming from the German side also. So they all sang for some time in the night till they all slept. Here you will note, children, the last sentence says, we had had our time of peace and goodwill. We had, when do we use had twice? So here they are talking about having something good. So he said we had our time of peace. Had means which was in the past perfect tense. We had our time of peace, having a good time of peace and goodwill, a time I will treasure as long as I live. Which is the moment that he wants to treasure for his lifetime? Meeting a soldier from the opposite side in the war field and then spending a good time with him, having a wonderful talk with an enemy who was supposed to be. Dearest Connie, by Christmas time next year, this war will be nothing but a distant and terrible memory. I know from all that happened today how much both armies long for peace. We shall be together again soon. I am sure of it. Your loving, Jim. So he concludes the letter by saying that by the time of Christmas in the next year, I am sure we are all going to be together, and this war will be not even existing. It would have finished, and it will be there only in our memories. So I am very confident about this with whatever has happened today from the both sides of the army. And then he finishes the letter signing off saying, your loving Jim. So now that it is confirmed that the letter was written by Jim to his wife, Connie. Alright. You can just go through these comprehension check questions, children, and try to find out the answers. I do not wish to take more time in this video, so we'll stop with this. Let us wait for another week's time before we go with Unit 3, and then we'll know what happens finally in this lovely chapter. Till then, have a lovely time, children. If you have any doubts, anything to be clarified, any sentence or word that you do not understand, please feel very free to send me a personal message. I'll be more than happy to clarify it to you. Have a nice day, children. Thank you so much for listening to me today. Bye.